to the Chooks TV. This is the Big Business Builders Show, the BQ Show. And so tonight I'll be speaking on a topic that I called With All Your Selling, Sell Authentically. So much of sales training really focuses on tactics, on strategies, and which is great, on techniques, great, wonderful. And but one aspect that it's not so much talked about is that the sales process is just a part of our normal life. What do I mean? Let me explain it this way. Um, no matter how anything is, until you can bring it down to its very basic and simple parts, you will not be able to be very effective in handling it. So what happens is that people who are genius, they simplify the very complex and complicated stuff. They make it so easy. I remember one of my university teachers that I so loved was that he was a professor and he made it so simple, unlike some other lecturers that sort of like felt that the more difficult they communicated their subject was, the more the students will respect or will acclaim them. And so something like marketing is really all about telling stories. Something like even leadership is all about telling stories. Something also for our purpose this night, selling. It's just about stories. Somehow, I don't know how we as human beings, we forgot how we were as children. Children love stories. It's much like curiosity. As we grow, somehow we begin to just lose some curiosity. That is the way children learn, by asking questions. In the same way, they love stories. That is something that if you have outgrown it, just like curiosity and creativity, that exploring nature of children, you need to go back and rediscover and reignite what you've left behind. Never outgrow telling stories. The very great leaders that make impact, they tell stories. Remember the greatest man who walked on this earth, the God man, God Himself. Most of these things he communicated, his teachings, were just stories. Stories are very simple things. And so, what I'm just communicating, I'm going to have one other show that I'm focusing on people who hate selling, people who don't like selling. I want to just make it so simple. So, what is sales? Sales is just telling a story about your product. Uh, your story communicates something. Could be story about how the product was made. It could be story about how the product is used. It could be story about problems the product solves. So it is those stories deep down in all of us, every human being, is our crave for good stories. Okay, another word for story is testimonials. In the faith community, you call it testimonies. These are just stories. They bring home the truth. They bring home in a very simple way for all of us to understand it. The meaning, the purpose, the significance, things that we're all looking for. So that is one point about selling, is about storytelling. And the other thing about sales that I want to talk about, still around authenticity, is to just know that selling is First, we talked about that selling is just storytelling. Selling is also building connections. This is where authenticity comes across so powerfully. Before you're selling, you want to connect with a real human being. They've taught you tactics, you've learned tactics, strategies, techniques. But with all of them, if it does not come out as you expressing yourself, someone has said that people, they listen with their ears, but they hear with their emotions. They feel you. And so the goal of selling is to get people to begin to move from listening to hearing with the emotions. That is where your genuineness, your authenticity comes across. That bring your tactics that you've learned, the strategies, and let it flow naturally with your personality so that you sell and have your own unique way of selling. So you bringing out, that's what authentic people do. They bring out their hearts and their soul. They make that human vital connection with the other human being. This is where I just want to bring this tonight's show to a close. I'm gonna pick up from this point tomorrow. Tomorrow. It's about with all your selling, with all the tactics, with all the strategies, with all the techniques you know about selling, let it come out from you as being authentic, that you are seeking the highest good of the person you are selling to. Did you get that? That your selling is about telling a story of how what you're selling, your good or your service, will be to enhancing, to improving, to elevating, to helping the person you're selling to become their very best. So you're selling with the truest of motives. You're selling with the heart. Forgive me for saying that, but that's really it. With a heart to serve, with a heart to help, with a heart to for our faith people to be a blessing, to doing good, not harming. And so if you look at story sales like that, so it's about just communicating these values, communicating these virtues, communicating these qualities, communicating how what you are bringing to this person will do all these wonderful, all these nice things in their lives. Good night and God bless you.